be cautious and mount your binding only at your own risk. Hi there. I recently bought Dynafit Rotation 14. Yes, Black Friday got me. Right after I clicked purchase, new problem occurred. That is probably the reason why you're watching this video. Or am I wrong? Yes, there is no official mounting template for this binding, which surprised me. I was searching everywhere to find any info. And to be honest, there is not a lot online. To be said, I found 3 or 4 different templates which was supposed to be the correct one. Unfortunately, this turned out not to be true. The biggest help I found was on a website called skimo.co, which published an article called Hole Pattern Recognition. You can find link down in description, which showing measurements of distance between the screw holes in the different bindings. There is where I found out that the holes of rotation 14 has exactly the same distance between the screws as the Radical 2.0. Links where you can download the template is gonna be also down in description below. But it is not the correct one. You doing this at your own risk. Hopefully you understand it. The difference is in the toe piece, respectively in the position of the screws and the pins of the binding. Difference between the Radical 2 and the official template. So one thing you're going to need to figure out is where the middle point of the ski boot is on the template, because here is the middle point, but it doesn't correspond to middle point of the ski boot. First thing I did was exactly what I told you in the first sentence of this video. I was cautious, very cautious with what I am doing. I printed 3 different templates I found online that was supposed to be the right one. And one important step by printing is to turn off scaling. When I was sure that the holes align perfectly with the binding, I mounted the binding to a piece of wood. Thanks to this, I figured that middle point of the template is not middle point of the binding. It would not be nice and funny if I mount directly to the ski, because I would figure out too late that middle point on template is not the middle point of the ski boot. This means you're going to have to find the point on a template which is going to represent the middle point of your boot. That is the only thing you really need to figure out for yourself. My ski boot measures 321 millimeters, which correspond to middle point being on a 320 millimeters mark on template itself. Please mount first to the wood to make sure you understand what you're doing before you drill your new or used ski. Doing so prevents probably headache and being pissed. If you don't know what you're doing and how to use the template, there is plenty of videos on YouTube to watch. So let's go for the first impression portion of this video. I bought this binding through German retailer and I paid with my own money, and there is no product placement in this video. Does it mean that you can subscribe or at least leave the like down under the video? The first thought when I got the binding in my hand was quality. Some kind of robustness or something like that. The materials feels like robust except of the switch on the toe piece, heel piece, toe piece, which felt like hard plastic. And yeah, this is the only part on the toe piece you are going to be touching when changing modes of the binding, and honestly this is the only part which feels kind of cheap from the get-go. Binding does not show any play in the parts, and I mean in the toe or in the heel piece, even though both rotate, and the rotation is the party trick of this binding. Toe piece rotates few degrees to both sides, but it is not spring-loaded, so it is not smooth and feels clicky. Heel rotation feels also very smooth, and you need to use fair amount of pressure to switch the modes. I must say that there is only 3 brake sizes available for this binding: 90, 105 and 120, which is honestly exactly between of what I needed. I got atomic backlength 107, that's why I must have gone with the 120mm brake, which feels little too wide, and there is a lot of space between the edge of the ski and the binding. On the other hand, the brake fin looks that they're gonna stop the ski even in the steeper slopes. In addition, I appreciate that the binding was delivered with the proper rubber band holding the brakes, which I'm gonna keep using to wax my skis. While I was mounting the binding to the ski, I found that the front screw on the heel piece needed to be mounting using relatively thin screwdriver, because it is not a lot of space for the screwdriver to screw the screws between the brake and the binding. There is like minimum amount of space, and it looks like I almost stripped one of the screws down. Okay, so how it feels to step in for the first time on the snow? Pretty well, I will say. I went only for one small tour, and stepping in is okay. It is still pin binding, so do not expect the convenience of alpine binding, but I find it very comparable to marker kingpin. One thing I had to adjust on the go was the ski boot fit, and I must say, doing so, it's very difficult with the multi-tool. If you would need to, or if you would have to do so more frequently to adjust the length, you're gonna have to have a Torx screwdriver with a big handle, because otherwise you will scrape the head down, which would probably render the binding unusable. I haven't yet figured out the best way how to turn the binding from locked mode for hiking to unlocked without being scared to get my fingers amputated. I hope there is a way, but I still need to figure it out, and especially without the gloves. Other than this, I'm very happy to own this binding at the moment, but its reliability can prove only time. I'm gonna keep using this binding for the season, and towards the end of the season I'm gonna post the full review video, so stay tuned for that. Do not forget to subscribe and say hi in the comments down below, and thank you for watching.